Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. This is Game Design Theory 1 by Mystify. I'm going to skip over his actual intro and just go straight to the thing. You can read it. It's going to be in the description. Um, the first study is on the degree of randomness, aka chance. The degree of randomness in a game occurs on a sliding scale. On one end, you have no randomness. Everything is predictable. You take an action, you can predict the result. The interest in such games comes from the action of other entities, be it another player or the game world itself. Chess is a great example of a chanceless game. Everything is visible. Every action predictable. You move a pawn, you know exactly where it'll end up. This allows you to formulate and execute elaborate strategies. The only determiner of who wins is the players. This is very solid game design. On the opposite extreme, you have games that are pure chance. This is gambling. A slot machine, you put in your coin, pull the lever, and the result is pure chance. Or roulette, wheel, or bingo, you have no influence over the outcome. You can only wait for the result. Now, there is a series of random events, as is the case with bingo, or a singular event, as with a roulette wheel. Yeah. The result is the same. One just teases it out longer. This is a poor game, as there is no real involvement from the player, but can play off some of the same triggers that a game does. The desire to win, the feeling of risk, etc., etc., etc. A variant of this is the guided game of chance. Most card games fall into this category. You have a strong element of chance. What hand you are dealt, what cards you draw, etc. However, the chance is not completely out of your control. You can still win with a poor hand if you play your cards right. Skill can work to counter chance. So a skilled person with a poor hand can beat an unskilled person with a good hand. You can, or something like that. You can, again, enact strategies. Now, strategies are not deterministic, but based on chance. You develop strategies to increase the odds of your own victory. This generally does not occur on an explicit level. You typically don't think that playing a certain card has a 5% greater chance of winning over another card. But you still make a choice as the best card to play. However, even with all of the strategies in play, you don't win every hand, unless you are a card counter, or you are Magic, or you're playing Solitaire, and you're really freaking good. Or you have something weird. Even with a perfect strategy, that element of chance is still there, and still matters significantly. However, there is an important property of card games. They don't rely on a single attempt. You don't play a single hand, you play a series of hands. You don't rely on the outcome of a single draw. You work off of a series of draws. And you have any understanding of probability, you know this heavily normalizes the average outcome. Flipping 2 coins, the chance of various numbers of head is very wild. Wild? I think he meant wide. 25% of 0 heads, 50% chance of 1 head, and 25% chance of 2 heads. That's very widespread because there are only 2 samples. If you flip it 10 times, then that balances out. There's a 0.097% chance of 0 heads, but some squiggly line, 25% chance of it getting 5 heads. There's a 65% chance of getting 4, 5, or 6 heads. The likelihood of getting a normal result is much, much higher than the chance of getting an abnormal result. The more iterations, the smaller the standard deviation. This means the alterations you do to the probability have a much more profound impact. If you have a 75% chance of getting heads on any flip, then you end up with a nearly 30% chance of rolling an 8. What? I don't even know. You'll get 8 plus heads. Oh my god, that is amazing on TF2. You will get 8 plus heads over 50% of the time with 100 flips. You have practically no off landing outside the 60 to 80 heads range. So multiple iterative chances have the impact of heavily normalizing the results. Chance still matters moment to moment, which helps keep the flow of the game exciting. While the final outcome is still mostly dependent on how well you play, the shift shift the probabilities in your flavor. Yes, it's not flavor, it's favor. In our coined flipped example, 100 flips will favor heads 50% of the time. If you can shift the probability by just 5%, the chance of winning shoots up to 80 to 90%. So with iterative chances, swaying the probability even slightly can be a huge advantage. Hence your skill at playing becomes very important, and the chance involved ceases to have a strong influence on the final's result. Yet moment to moment, chance does matter. Unpredictability is still there. The tension of whether the card, the 7 or 9, the course of the game is interesting. This is even more true when the quality of a hand is bounded. Take hearts, for example. Basic idea of the game: you play cards from your hand, and whoever plays the highest card of the right suit takes all the played cards. Certain cards are worth points. Oh god, I cannot read that. Which you want to avoid. Hence, a good hand allows you to not take many points if played well. Remember, there is an additional rule. You take all the points in a round, you shoot to the moon, and get no points, whilst everyone else takes a maximum point. This is a tricky thing to pull off, but is a huge advantage in winning the overall game. Also means that the hand, and that will take many cards, does not have to be an awful hand. It can instead be a good hand. This helps bind the quality of your hand, and hence limits the probability from outright dooming you. In addition, you have accumulating value, be it cards within a hand or the chips you earn between hands. You get to accumulate the value of your successes, building towards a goal. This acts as an overall measurement of the probabilities. Without it, you are internally influencing the last. You are internally on the influence of the last chance, and the benefit of iterative chances is lost, if not inverted. If every hand is double or nothing, it does not matter how good you do overall. A failure on the current hand becomes a complete failure, and hence you are back to the singular chance situation. In fact, multiple iterations make this worse, as it is no longer a chance that you have accumulated more, with a chance that you never failed. Even if you have a 99% chance of winning, you will have a 64% chance to have failed by 100 iterations. A 90% chance becomes a 0-point chance of success. Becomes a 0.00026% chance of success. After 100 iterations, any chance of failure is quickly magnified, of course. Just because you are not accumulating value does not mean you risk losing everything in a single failure. As shown, a single point of failure with multiple iterations is a bad idea. If instead you are iterating until success, those probabilities flip. And even a small chance of success will quickly build to a near certainty, which makes the entire exercise a waste of time and resources. This is why instant death in a game is a bad idea. Even if it's rare or easily avoidable, eventually it will get them and becomes a single point of failure over repeated iterations. The magnitude of probability involved influence how many iterations are needed to smooth it out. Even about 50 chances of success, even 100 iterations clamps down on the variance by quite a bit. If you're talking about 0.5%, you need many more iterations. It's important to match these up properly. There's so much more words to read. Applying these principles to other games, you can identify some interesting features. Take Dungeons and Dragons, for instance. The central mechanic for combat is you roll a dice and it determines whether you hit or miss. If you hit, you roll the dice to determine how much damage. Lots of chance involved, however, players receive a very high degree of control over this chance. The characters get modifiers that can apply to the rolls, boosting them higher or making the opponent need a higher result. This comes in play at multiple levels. At one level, it regards the character creation. Your ability to create a good character influences your bonus, and hence your relative advantage. Another level is tactical. The maneuvering and strategies enacted on the battlefield. You can have even more profound impact than character creation. Maneuvering can give you specific bonuses to hit, or for certain builds to damage, further shifting the probabilities. Good tactics can also suppress enemies ability to attack minions, so they have fewer chances to hit you. Cover can increase your defenses. Concealment can add an additional miss chance. And as a result, you have a very high degree of control over the probabilities involved. Couple this with the fact that you are rolling a lot of chances, and you meet these criteria. You have a large number of iterative chances to normalize the result, and the ability to shift probabilities to your advantage. However, there are flaws in that system. Sometimes you don't get a large number of iterative chances. You get one chance. You need to jump over a pit, for instance. You have a 75% chance of making it. Oh, God. In an iterative situation, this is a very significant advantage. However, in a single event, that's a 75% chance of straight-up failure. There is no iterative advantage to be gained over multiple tries, such as when you are attacking an enemy and wearing down its health. You came down to a single roll, it's a gamble, and overall game design has been broken. Now let's examine Minecraft, which is the forum I found this on. Yay me! The largest source of randomness is finding ores while mining / spelunking. That's fun. I don't like it though. Each block of stone has a chance of being an ore mining or spelunking. You expose a large number of blocks, hoping to find ore. Since this is random, there's a lot of chance, and you never know when you will find ore. This makes it more exciting when you do find ore, or if you get it regularly. However, since it is a highly iterative chance, the rate of mineral gathering is fairly predictable and does not suffer a wide variance on average. You do have control over the chances. Efficient mining techniques can expose more stone per stone mined than inefficient techniques that expose stone that is more likely to have ores, and so shifts the probabilities to your favor. This also follows the cumulative rule, as every ore found accumulates to keep track of your overall progress. And even though individually you have a low chance of finding ore, volume test makes up for it. Anyone whose mind can tell you that you see plenty of ore being drowned in, so this aspect is reasonably balanced. So Minecraft's mining follows these principles as a solid mechanic. Oh, wow, that was long. Now let's look at its enchantments. You gather a large number of resources and enchant an item. This is a singular event. You either get something good or something bad. You can accumulate the result of that successes, and you can influence the probabilities, but at an ever-increasing cost. Since it is a singular check, that influence is weakened. These enchantments break from the good design of the rest of the game, standing out as an unmatching mechanic and violating game design principles. In summary, chance can be a useful element in game design as you want to leave the player in control, since the interaction is what that makes a game as opposed to a movie. It is the point. Chance would seem to defy that principle, but when used correctly, it can work with it. A highly repeated chance with accumulating returns, ability to influence the probabilities can help ensure players' control is meaningful and interesting, while still allowing chance to have its influence. However, it is not a perfect design. Even with highly iterative chances to even it out, there still remains a chance that a player, no matter how skilled or how well they played, just gets screwed. The chance that this is not a desirable outcome. However, it is a trade-off for adding an interesting in the interest of randomness to the general game flow. That singular failure is not the end overall. The game itself can become highly iterative chance with outcomes influenced by the player, and drive the impact of random unfair failure even lower. If the chance of unfair failure is low, then it does not take many iterations to smooth it over, but chance can be successfully incorporated element of the game if done right.